Hello, welcome to Artistically Declined. I'm Ian Roten, and I'm joined today by one of the drones from Sector 7G, Russell Stroud.
Huh? Why did you drag me here again?
So we can draw some Sams, some Samsons,
Samson's?
some Samps.
Isn't that the gorilla?
What?
What? What are we talking about?
Simpsons. We're talking about the Simpsons.
Right. Simpsons. We're going to be drawing Simpsons today.
We're gonna be drawing Simpsons today. It's not gonna be particularly scripted, like on who's drawing what. So I think we can just kind of shoot the shit. Russell, what's your biggest old Simpsons memory? What's your Simpsons memory? Tell me.
I remember seeing this fan stop motion animation of the Simpsons getting brutally murdered by some punk kids, and it was the most traumatizing experience of my life.
My first Simpsons experience was actually also a traumatizing one. The first, like, I knew about the Simpsons just through like osmosis. Like you hear about things when you're younger, you don't know quite what they are. But like I was it was at like a family thing. I was watching like TV in my aunt's room, and like the Simpsons came on. And I was like, oh, so this is that Simpsons thing. I had to check this out. But it was a treehouse of horror where, like, I don't know. I think it was like some doomsday scenario or something where
That's
only
like
Homer
what they
and
do, like a
Burns.
bunch of like compilations of mini stories, right?
Yeah. It's like a horror mini stories like episode where it's a bunch of like non-canon things going on.
Yeah, it's not canon.
Yeah, it's not canon. So, and particularly so in this one, where it involved Mr. Burns, the mean old boss, and Homer were the last ones alive, or something like that. And they were like holed up in a tomb, and then they started getting in a fight, and then like Mr. Burns like pushes Homer over, and he like splits his head open on a rock, or like that's at least what I remember, and like he bleeds out, and like the blood in Simpsons is like a very vivid red, even if everything else in the scene is like pallid. And it was horrifying to little old Ian's membrane. It melted me to the core, and then I never consumed Simpsons for a long while after that.
That's hilarious.
It made me laugh, frankly.
I like how my horrible experience was from an actually shocking, like, messed up fan creation, and then your horrible experience was just you being a little baby babu about a real episode.
Well, like like as a little baby babu, I certainly didn't like seeing a man's head split open and hyper realistic blood coming out like some kind of creepypasta. Russell, who's your favorite Simpsons character?
My favorite Simpsons character is definitely Marge.
Really?
Yeah, I love Marge.
Really?
Yeah. She's funny, and then she's also just, like, has, like, the most interesting, like, very rarely Simpsons does, like, actual plots. Again, admittedly, I haven't seen Simpsons in a long time, so maybe I'm underselling how much they do, like, the real shit. But occasionally, when they do, like, legitimate, like, character development, I always find Marge's to be the most interesting.
Something interesting, really, to me is that, like, Homer being the large lummox that he is, often is at the core of a lot of like the bad relationship episodes, like where there's one where he becomes like a country music star or whatever, and like he starts spending a lot of time like working on that, and with his like producer lady who's absolutely in love with him, but like he doesn't have any of the same sort of feelings, and so even though that like causes a divide between him and Marge, like in the end she realizes that he like is still faithful to her. But like there's a early episode where like after like some of the early episodes are like the most real. Like there's one where Homer's like at like a desperate low point in his life, and then like I think Marge like kicks him out or something. It involves like his frequent drinking at Moe's, and she like doesn't let him come back inside or whatever. So there's like some really real stuff at the beginning, but like all of the ones contingent on like their marriage continuing, like Homer's actually the one who most consistently like is the more faithful one. Like one there's a fantastic early episode where Marge, like, it involves Homer like as a gift for her birthday, she does the thing that all 10-year-olds kind of do, where he buys her a bowling ball that says Homer on it, and then she, like, expecting her not to want it, and she like ends up keeping it, much to his dismay, and starts taking bowling lessons, and she starts falling in love with their bowling instructor, and like she almost ends up cheating on Homer, in like a really weird way that like I don't think Homer's ever actually had an episode where the option of him cheating is like realistically explored. Like he's an asshole and he's stupid and he does all this stuff, but he's really devout. So it, like, I think some of the earlier Simpsons episodes, because they have real stuff like that, are like easily the best.
Without
I
a
think
doubt.
Marge has like a early kind of unexplored drinking problem. Yeah, like for in terms of like that stuff, that's really fascinating character traits that, like you were saying with Marge, that I feel never really gets explored further. Like it kind of ties into the whole like suburban, everyone eventually gets tired of suburbia. Like they get tired of like their simple lives and want to find an escape. And I feel like a lot of early Simpsons kind of tackled that in a way that they haven't since, and no other Simpsons knockoff series subsequent has ever even bothered kind of getting into exploring.
Without a doubt, yeah. Simpsons kind of fell into like that problem that any like long running show has, right? Where the characters just kind of become like characters of themselves, if that makes any sense at all.
It's literally actually like the name of that is derives from The Simpsons. It's called Flanderization,
Oh,
where Sheldon at the beginning of The Big Bang Theory, he's actually like relatively self-aware. He's decently like he understands the social cues between Leonard trying to hit on Penny, and he like in a socially awkward way points them out, but in a way that demonstrates that he's kind of more aware of the situation than even Leonard is. But then eventually they just turn him into like a mentally disabled Bazinga machine.
Bazinga.
Like, yeah. Just because like, oh, that's the funny joke. Let's do the funny joke more. Where Flanders says, "Hadily hodily."
His catchphrase. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's an interesting way of putting it.
Yeah. Like,
I think one of the people who have best explained it is a channel called Super Eye Patch Wolf. He relatively recently, it may have been a year ago or so, I think you've seen it, is like 30-minute breakdown of like the Simpsons and how it's evolved. And like there's like that weird like anomaly of how the characters have changed little by little so much over the years, and through like memes and like fan interpretation, where that becomes more equally valid, I should say, as the source material, and it becomes so bizarre.
Yeah. Like there was definitely a turn in humor from like, oh, this is a real family that weird absurd shit happens to like, this is a completely unrealistic family that weird and absurd shit happens to, and they embrace it with open arms constantly, like without question. And honestly, I think that's kind of something that made, like, I would absolutely love to get in a time capsule, go back and like look at some of the 90s actual like reactions to The Simpsons, like at the time, because everyone was fucking horrified of it. They were
Really?
terrified of, yeah, because all of the sitcoms that were on TV at the time were like Roseanne, and it depicts a middle class family like The Simpsons does, but it's or no, sorry, not Roseanne, like Family Matters and
Yeah, okay.
Family of
I
Five
thought
and all that
Roseanne was
stuff.
like an interesting choice.
Yeah,
to
no.
list.
Roseanne is actually more similar to The Simpsons, in that like both of them depict a middle class family, not an upper middle class family like all of the other like Happy Family sitcoms at the time were. And it depicts them, they're being kind of rude to each other. They're, struggling with work. They're struggling with marriage, a bunch of stuff like that. And unlike all the shows that had like, you know, a happy dad coming home from work, like, honey, I'm home, and then the kid runs in and he's like, Daddy, did you get me a toy? And he's like, oh, sorry, Squirt, next time maybe. You know, it's not like the happy family stuff. It was, you know, Homer has drinking problems and he's in a dead-end job, and Marge is a housewife that had greater aspirations, and her kids are two devils. One of them's depressed, the other one is an ADHD wild child. And that stuff was real, and that's why people were so scared of it. Like, it was not something happy. It was something that directly attacked the way actual real life, you know, functioned. And there were, you know, Bart T-shirts banned in schools. There were, you know, news spots being like, this something that's destructive to the family structure. This is something horrible that kids shouldn't be, you know, exposed to. It's vile. It's smut. And just that sort of like, what was that world like back before, you know, when the biggest kerfuffle of the day was the president got a blowjob, you know?
Yeah, no, I never really thought about it in that context. Like, that's fascinating to me. I never would have, like, realized that it had that impact.
Like, there was an episode of really Simpsons where Bart, like, slowly unzips his jacket, like, to reveal, like, a novelty T-shirt he's wearing, and like, Miss Krabappel, like, slowly reads it as he unzips it, and it's like, down with homework. And like, she reports it to the principal, and they like ban all novelty T-shirts or whatever. And that's something that was actually happening with like Bart T-shirts that said "Eat my shorts" and stuff like that.
Wow, amazing stuff.
Yeah, and I like today when, you know, all TV is like, how raunchy can we possibly make this, even to the point where we're sacrificing real content, you know, we're sacrificing real story so these squidbillies can make jokes about sucking dick and shooting each other in the head with shotguns. God. You know, like, it's just like, how horrible can we make this thing, when like the thing that was horrifying people 20 years ago was the concept of real life, and now every show and its mother wants to point out how horrible real life is, like it's something special that they're doing for the first time.
Yeah, absolutely.
My favorite Simpsons character is Bart.
Yeah?
Yeah, I think he's the most, like, realistic consistently. Like, obviously, there's not anything very realistic to sawing the head off a statue, but, you know, he's had episodes where Bart gets an A is like, probably one of the most human experiences for him, where he wants to go to, like, no, it's that he's going to be held back if he doesn't, like, pass his class or whatever. And he all of a sudden, like, drops the bad boy attitude and starts working really hard, or as hard as he can, but, like, he actually legitimately has ADHD, and he's struggling, and he can't, you know, he sacrifices a snow day so that he can do his homework, but then he accidentally falls asleep, and or no, what happens is that there's, like, a snow day, and he wastes it going out and playing, and then, like, he's like, oh god, I fucked myself. It's like, I wasted the chance God gave me before the test. Like, this is it. And then he gets another snow day, and he uses it, but he, like, falls asleep, and then he realizes that he's, like, gonna fail, and he's got to face that his friends are gonna leave him behind. He's gonna face that he's not really that smart a kid. Like, he already has to face it with, like, Lisa being a prodigy or whatever. And like, there's a very real scene at the end where he's crying, like, genuinely, like, bawling his eyes out to his teacher, because he knows that he's not smart, and he's just afraid of what that means for him. And he like, manages to recite some, like, historical facts that he actually did pick up from, like, his time working, and his teacher, like, gives him enough extra credit to, like, pass on, and there's, like, genuine happiness and a genuine, like, connection between him and the teacher that he's normally, like, so pitted against. And it's just a fantastic episode. Like, any that gives a character actual realistic problems and emotion like that could help a kid who's going through the same thing is just phenomenal to me.
Yeah, wow. That must have been like early, like season 1, season 2 maybe, huh?
Yeah, definitely, definitely.
Wow. Yeah, that's what
I
I'm
feel
saying though.
like,
Like, I guess that's more of what you were saying, but just like the real stuff that that show does
hmm hmm
is absolutely very endearing.
and as things go on, they stop doing as many of those sorts of deals, and that's not to say that it's necessarily makes those episodes bad or anything, but I feel like the most genuine stuff and the most realistic stuff that connects to life is going to be the stuff that sticks with you.
Yeah, for sure. And that's got to be why the show's lasted as long as it has, huh?
hmm Have you ever seen any of the like the Proto Simpsons, the Tracy Ullman show?
Proto Simpsons. No, I can't
Yeah,
say.
yeah. It was before it was like a syndicated television series. It was a series of like shorts on a late night show called the Tracy Ullman Show,
Oh, so there were
and
multiple,
uh, it,
like
yeah,
multiple
yeah, yeah.
shorts. I knew of like
It,
the one that was supposed to be like a test pilot kind of thing, but I didn't know it was like a ongoing gag thing.
yeah, no, it would be like multiple episodes. They'd be like, and here's another deal from the Simpson family or whatever, and the characters have like radically different designs. They're like triangle headed, like they look a lot dopier and weirder. It's they're very interesting to watch, and I think that there's actually some like jokes that get used in the Simpsons that were kind of prototyped on there.
Interesting. So interesting that I don't have a follow up.
You never do you? You never do.
I'm sorry.
I try to connect with you here. No, Russell, you need to listen to me. This
Okay.
is kind of a problem that has been building for the entire course of the show,
Yeah,
and
all three episodes.
I think the audience knows it. First of all, it's some of that negativity that you're just displaying right there that
What?
I
I'm
really
not
don't
being
want to hear anymore.
negative.
Um, I'm putting the work in. I'm busting my butt. I'm committing. I think that there's some unmitigating truths to the world. Like I think truth and justice are something that need to be kind of exposed, and we finally have a platform to do that. And I think that the world is a place where everybody needs to have some kind of underlying. Everybody needs to have their own justice. Everyone needs to have their own opinions, not at the point where it starts infringing on other people's. And I know that that's a difficult thing, but I feel like there could be, we could help synergize a world where everybody can have that environment where they can share, and I think that that's an important thing. And I really think that these jokes that you make kind of don't facilitate that. I'm looking to kind of connect people on a way that you couldn't really understand, in a public forum. I want this to be a place where people can have these discussions and have these discussions with people in their community and community leaders, and they can kind of find God in their own sense, like not necessarily a religious God, but they can find God in nature and God in light and in truth, and they can find their own gods, and in that way everyone has their own kind of, it's all kind of the same to everybody. And by finding that truth and that God, even if you don't want to call it that, you don't have to. It's just a word. It's just an idea. It's a symbol to people. And I think, frankly, that it's something that people should be allowed to find. And if you don't think that that's so, that's an opinion that you should be allowed to voice, like in the environment that I want to create. But I don't think that you should take that away from other people.
Sorry, I was coloring. What was that? Ian? Ian, you good, buddy?
No, Russell, I'm not good.
What's up?
I'm gay. All right, I'm gonna slap some color on this bad boy and call it so it's not. This one's not gonna go too long.
Yeah. I wasn't sure what color to use. I was kind of like thinking like a yellow for some reason. I don't know why. Just like yellow kind of like really spoke to me.
Russell,
Yeah, what's up?
isn't it crazy that all of the white people in Springfield are yellow and all of the Asian people are white?
Aren't they just a different shade of yellow?
Well, they're like a very, very pale, like essentially just like essentially tan.
Ah, I see. Yeah, I mean, I feel like that's always been like an ongoing joke, right? Of like, haha, why are the white people yellow? But like, I really do wonder what was the creative decision there. Was it because like, did they try illustrating an Asian person in like the normal yellow and like realize that in order to convey that they were Asian, they had to go with like really cliche facial features or something?
That could be. That could be.
I wonder. So like, I don't know. That's something I would like to find out.
Who would you say is your favorite like background character?
Favorite background
not
character is
background.
Apu.
Apu is the best. Apu is so cool.
I legitimately think Apu is one of the coolest characters, just one of the coolest people. I love his backstory and his family. Like, any episode that focuses around Apu is so wonderful to me.
My name is Apu the Hasafima Petalon. It is said exactly how it is spelled. There is the whole, like, the problem with Apu issue that happened, like, a few years ago. And
yeah, whatever came from that.
Yeah, it honestly kind of felt bad to, like, go through. I think they ended up actually, like, having him move away or whatever in the show. But there's a fantastic, like, video essay on the importance of Apu and, like, the ways that, like, he's actually the best represented, caricature in the entire series. Like, he's got like a master's degree in like computer engineering. He runs his own business. He is very, very well off with the ladies. He has his own problems with his wife and his kids that get like a story arc and get resolved. Whereas like other people are like there's a bit in an episode where like he's on the bowling team with like Mo and Homer and somebody else, and like there's another team called like the Springfield Stereotypes or something, and it's like the pirate, Cletus the slack-jawed yokel, some other like the Italian chef, and he's like, oh, they begged me to be on their team, they begged me. But he's not, because he's more than that, and the showrunners clearly know that.
Oh, for sure. Like, I mean, obviously we're white guys, so maybe we're not like the best
oh, sure.
We're not the best deciding factor of if like a character is a good representation, but like I always felt like, yeah, like his voice may have been played up for laughs somewhat, but like he's legitimately one of the most upstanding characters in the entire series.
Absolutely.
Like, he's just a genuinely good person, very passionate about his work because he wants to, provide for his family, obviously. It might be a bit of a cliche that he's working at a fucking gas station or whatever, a convenience store. But I don't know, though.
Yeah.
It's a weird situation that I admittedly don't think I have much of a place to make a passionate stand on.
Sure, and obviously, like, if he offends a group, there's nobody really has a room to tell them that they're wrong for
Definitely,
that. But,
definitely.
Like, I think that he is definitely worth a closer look than just to be offhandedly labeled as a stereotype.
Mm-hmm. Like many of the Simpsons characters, he is without a doubt more than just the humor tied around him.
Like, everybody in The Simpsons is a stereotype. Like, that's the point. It's stereotyping, middle-class suburban life, and, it mocks society in the big Joker face way. But, like, a show that mocks everybody isn't singling anyone out, I feel.
Sure, I can definitely agree with that. Mask off, Joker, red pill,
Dude, such red pill.
Dude.
Much red pill.
Don't even get me started. It's so based.
I heard you like red pill, so I could put some red pill into your red pill so you could red pill while you red pill. What would you say your favorite movie? Like, okay, favorite movie is really difficult for me, at least. I don't tend to like asking questions that I don't have like a solid answer for myself.
I do have a decent answer for it.
What are some of your favorite movies, would you say?
So I can probably go into like different genres, but like generally speaking, my go-to for favorite movie is Liar Liar with Jim Carrey.
Okay.
It's a very simple film. But I think it's one of the most endearing films Jim Carrey has done, at least in that era, and it's also one of the best examples of his type of humor.
Mm-hmm.
Like, heck, the credit sequence has an entire, like, blooper reel that's almost primarily of the court scene of him just bullshitting random stuff and just like and like yeah, haha, lulls to random, right? But like just Jim Carrey just has such a unique energy to him that I've always admired. It was very much the inspiration for how I carried myself back in the day, and then I realized I was an annoying little shithead, and then I became more chill. But I still
Weren't we
appreciate,
all, Russell?
bro. But still, I appreciate Jim Carrey's humor, especially in Liar Liar. I think that movie alone has some of his most iconic like lines. That and like Ace Ventura.
Now, I haven't seen this movie, but I'm going to be very disappointed if his pants are not on fire at some point in that movie.
What do you mean? Oh! Shut the fuck up!
Fucking phrase!
Shut the fuck up!
Idiot!
I don't remember if his pants are ever on fire. But there is...
It seems like that would be a prominent scene if there was.
We have to watch Liar Liar together at some point.
Okay.
It's such a good movie. Like, again, like... cosmically speaking, probably nothing special. Like, I'm not gonna want to like make you think you're going to go into it and get anything profound. It's like a nice, feel-good family movie about a father reconnecting with his son, and then doing random haha lulz gags along the way.
Lulz to random.
Nothing profound by any means, but I think it's super enjoyable.
Okay, cool. I'm down. My three favorite movies. I don't think I can necessarily choose one out of these because they're like three different genres and like they all have aspects that the others don't. So these three kind of hold like a rotating trifecta in the pantheon. That would be Pulp Fiction, just for having like such an interesting storytelling angle. Like the characters are also interesting. It's just a fascinating movie to watch over and over again, and you catch a lot of stuff that you missed before, and you put together other things that like it tells it in like you can break up the chunks of the movie and like they're so out of order, but like it doesn't feel like that when you're watching it. And so when you make these connections of like, oh, this character isn't here for this because like he said like in this scene that he had this thing to do, so this one must come after that, and that would explain why he's not here for the rest of the movie. Like really, really interesting to kind of like piece together some of the character mysteries that you don't notice at the first pass or two of it. The second one would be The Truman Show, which is a fascinating little thing that I'll probably talk about later on a different episode that I want to do. You don't know about that?
I thought that was just an actual night show.
No. It's a show about a guy named Truman.
I'm a fucking idiot. That's the Jim Carrey movie. I'm such a fucking idiot. How do I not know a Jim Carrey movie? I have not seen this one though.
It's fantastic. It's about a guy who he is owned by a company, and ever since he was born, he has been part of his own He's essentially like living out his own Simpsons, where there's an entire artificial town with all of these characters that have known him for his entire life. The company like orchestrates like all of these events in his life, with characters coming and going, and he just does not know that his life is a television show, and it's been running for like he's like 26 or something, probably older than that, like when the movie happens, but like the matrix starts to crumble around him, as it were. And he starts realizing more and more that like strange things are afoot at the Circle K.
I see.
So it's in the ending. God damn it, the ending like 10 minutes is probably my favorite cinema I've ever watched.
Okay.
And my third favorite is Tremors.
Tremors.
Tremors is so good.
Heck yeah,
not
dude.
Not any of the sequels, just Tremors.
Just Tremors. Yeah, the sequels got a little too schlocky if I remember. Yeah, Tremors is classic.
It's like, oh, what if we gave them wings and legs? And it's like, no, that's not scary. That's dumb.
That's not the point of the monster. That completely goes against like the whole point of what the monster is. But yeah, no, like Tremors is a film that I don't remember a whole lot of it, but it was definitely like a defining point of my childhood. Like the second you said that, like I haven't thought about that movie in probably more than a decade. But the second you said that, I was like, oh, yeah!
Yeah, no, dude, Tremors is great.
It just awoken a whole lot.
It's like a fantastic. It's not, high cinema. It's not. It's not in the Criterion Collection. I'm certainly sure, but like it's in terms of an action movie, it's great. It's got good characters. It's got a threatening enemy. It's very intense. And even if the conclusion of how they beat the monsters isn't like as tense and interesting as the rest of the movie, I can't say that it is with full certainty. Where they like, it's cool, but it doesn't necessarily match up with the rest of it. But it's still fantastic to watch. And going back to it, it's not a movie I would watch every Friday night. I think it would get really tiring after that. But like it's a great one to throw on every now and again, especially with people who haven't seen it before.
For sure. It's one of those kind of like fun like popcorn movies. Though, like I was struggling to think of other favorite movies, but I do have a recent new favorite movie without a doubt.
Oh, yes.
And that's Driver. Are you familiar with that film?
Elaborate, young man.
So Driver, I forget what year it came out. I'm going to fact check with Google real quick. It may have just been called Drive. I might be a fucking idiot.
Drive sounds more familiar.
Yeah, it was Drive. My apologies. I'm a fucking idiot. Let that be on the record.
Of Baby Driver, you stupid bitch.
Dude, Baby Driver! I have not watched Baby Driver. I was going to make a joke about it, but then I realized I couldn't carry it because I've never actually seen it.
It's good. It's just not, like, there's something holding it back, and I think that's some of the character relationships that it tries to sell you on that, like, they just don't devote enough time to.
Yeah. But yeah, no, like, I recently got around to watching Drive. Instantly one of my favorite movies of all time. I was absolutely in love with Ryan Gosling's performance, and like I already like adore Ryan Gosling.
What are you, a tween girl?
Well, no, he's just a really good actor, and I was like really, I was really biased though, not biased, but like I already was familiar with his work in like a more serious light because of Blade Runner 2049, 2047, 2049. I think it's 2049. 2047. Why do I want to think 2047? 2049.
Russell,
what?
The episode can only go on for so long. Choose a fucking number.
I'm sorry! Okay, 2049. If it's 2047, I'm just a fucking idiot. Again. But, Ryan Gosling's performance in Blade Runner was absolutely astounding. I think Blade Runner 2049 is one of the greatest films of all time, and it's so rare when, like, a sequel or, like, a technical reboot for, like, an old, like, 80s classic is actually good as well. But, like, Ryan Gosling hit it out of the park with that. So, like, when I heard about Drive, I just was so... How do I put it? It's like, it was on par, if not better, than what I was expecting out of 2049, right? It was like a situation where I had all these expectations and hopes for it, and I was satisfied completely. And it has such a similar energy, too, with, like, the character that he is. Like, this character who... not necessarily struggles with emotions, but there's like a subtlety to what emotions he is feeling. And that becomes its like own story separate from like the actual events happening to him. Ryan Gosling is so talented at making those like really minor expressions to really convey that. And I love it.
Okay.
He's just so handsome.
Oh my god, you're a tween girl.
Can I just say, he is so handsome. Like, if I were homosexual, absolutely.
You're not even going to take his emotions into consideration?
Well, I mean, obviously it would have to be consenting. I'm not a monster, Ian. I'm just saying, absolutely. I would.
Alright, okay.
Also, I've been done with my stuff.
You're done with your first one?
First one?
Oh, you've just drawn all of them?
I feel like it's been long enough that we've been drawing all of them, right? Do I have to draw more shit now?
If you would like.
I don't know what else to draw.
I'm sorry, I'll speed it up. I'll just do line art for these other ones.
No, by all means, color it. I'll draw. I mean,
I know how much you hate drawing.
What's a good side character? You
could do...
I can think of two side characters that I could do, but you would hate me if I did them. You know the ones.
Lenny and Carl?
No.
Okay, good, because I'm doing Lenny and Carl.
Aren't those Homer's friends? That's what they are, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
After I do a quick Burns, just so I don't feel bad about I'm trying to think of
It's what
Sideshow Bob and
it's
Sideshow
what we
Mel?
agreed not to mention.
Oh, okay, yeah. You know what? Let's talk about this. Let's talk about it.
Oh?
Yeah, let's get into this.
Well, are you sure? We promised we wouldn't say it.
I think that it is very wrong for I'm getting old. I'm getting up there. I think we can both agree. I think that it is wrong when meme culture, which I've been at odds with for a little the last few years. I miss my Bad Luck Brian's. I'll be honest about that. I miss Philosophy Raptor. I miss Backwards Penguin. I miss Overly Attached GF. I miss demotivational posters. And I will proudly say that stuff like the old man that I am.
Mm-hmm.
I will wear that badge with pride. But I think it is wrong when meme culture takes something that is just a joke, like steamed hams, for example. That was legitimately just a Simpsons joke, and then they just use that, and it becomes like a weird pseudo transcendent different joke. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Like it's just weird that the joke is a funny joke, and it like works comedically and is liked, and then it becomes a meme, and then suddenly like it's transformed to something else. It's like the joke is hijacked for the sake of another joke, but there's not another joke being made. And that weirds me out. I don't like it. It confuses me. I don't like it.
That's a bit of a hot take, but I respect it.
It's taking somebody else's writing that is good and works, and it's like if I took A Tale of Two Cities by one Charles Dickens, and I like took
made
all
a
of the
shitty
text.
Garfield sequel based off of it.
We don't have to do this if you don't want to, Russell. We
What?
don't have to.
What?
If you're gonna make Garfield A Tale of Two Kitties jokes, we don't have to talk about
Well,
it.
I wasn't making a joke. I thought that's what you were going with.
No. If I took like a great if I took Oliver Twist, you can't make any Garfield jokes off that. Hopefully.
Odie is a bitch.
He is a bitch. He is kind of a bitch. I think we can agree on that one, buddy.
That was a bit of a stretch. Continue.
But like if you took that and like published it's like every time they say Oliver Twist, you play the entire audio book of Oliver Twist. It's weird. It's like you're taking something that exists just fine as it is and like making it a meme but without changing anything. And I know that a lot of the steamed hams deals did, there were transformative aspects. Some people got creative with it, but then it just becomes this thing that becomes a meme without actually making a joke. It just, I don't know. It's really hard for me to describe, but I feel like that's something that's just like a bit too invasive without actually having, there's all of these esoteric memes out there that are just like the letter E, and it's like, I'm not a fan of that, but, you're not hurting anybody.
Dude, I love
but
E.
You would love E.
It's funny.
It's not funny.
It is.
But you know what? If you want to laugh at it, I'm not gonna yuck your yum. But in this case, it's just taking. I'm just repeating myself at this point because I'm not entirely sure what else to say. It's just such a strange feeling of corrupting a joke that exists already to make a weird meta joke that now, for the rest of time, that original joke that works perfectly fine will not be able to escape from.
Uh-huh.
Okay, that's my piece.
That's fair. I will say that's definitely fair because for a long time I didn't really get steamed hams, but then I realized there's nothing to get, and then I started appreciating it in that light.
Sure, but I think something to just juxtapose it with is the American Dad theme song speedrun, where
I love that bit.
Yeah, and I think that that's very funny, and even though it's something that's sort of similar, like if all of a sudden the American Dad theme song just became a meme, and all of a sudden people were like translating it into weird other formats, but it was still just the American Dad theme song over and over again, like I would think that that was the same thing, but there's a weird kind of creepy kind of like strange, like somebody had to come up with this really transformative like aspect to this. But like if you just took any other Simpsons joke and just blew it into the ground like they did with steamed hams, I just feel like there's something off about that.
I can sympathize with that, sure. Do I agree? No. But I can sympathize with that. I think you're just a
you never back
silly...
me up. You never support me. You're always arguing.
I'm trying my best to support you right here, right now, because you're my friend and I value your opinion. But also, you're wrong.
We'll talk about this in couples therapy.
Fine.
And I say, I am very unused to like trying to draw outlines for things. Like I normally just start drawing and then make it work. But sometimes you just need it, especially for like, I said this in the last episode when I was kind of in my Pajama Sam debacle. But like, cartoon styles is something I'm not particularly good at, and it's something that it's like a lot harder for me to kind of work with. So that's something I kind of need some outlines for. Also, I'm definitely more used to drawing like on paper than I am on tablet, and so I think that's kind of another reason of it. Like I'm sure I could draw these a lot more confidently on paper, but there's just a very different texture to drawing on a tablet. Which one do you like more, Lenny or Carl?
Which one's which?
This is actually a Simpsons bit.
Wait, really?
I had forgotten about this, but like there's a bit where the two of them are like they're like sassing Homer on something, and he like looks down at his hand, and written on it he has like Lenny equals white, Carl equals black. And he goes, "Is that right?"
That's amazing. I feel like that had to have been a meta thing, right? Where like it stemmed from like actual confusion.
Oh, probably.
That's fucking hilarious. But no, to answer your question, now that you elaborated, I think Carl's my favorite.
Which one is Carl?
Hi,
Homer. Okay, Russell, let's do a little role play. I'll be Marge because I've got a pretty good Marge voice, as I've been told.
Why? Why are we doing this?
And you can be Homer, because you said you could do a good Homer earlier.
Not a good one. I just said that's the only one I could do theoretically.
Are you ready?
Okay. Fine.
Homer.
Marge.
I tire of these children.
Marge.
I want you to inseminate me with a new one.
Marge. I don't...
Okay, actually, wait, hang on. Actually, be Bart
weird.
instead. Okay, we're not gonna do that one. Be Bart instead.
I can't do a Bart.
Bart. I thought I told you before to pick up your toys.
What does Bart say?
Actually, Russell, no, go back. Let's do the Homer one again.
What?
That one's not very good.
Okay, fine.
Homer. I want to feel a fetus within me once again.
But Marge, aren't you happy with the two we have?
No.
3? Wait, do we have 3?
I lose count.
Oh,
At a certain point, they just fall through my vaginal walls.
that's really gross, Marge.
Yes.
What were the names, rather, of, fucking Marge's sisters?
So Patty and Selma.
Which one was which?
It does not matter. Okay, you ready?
Yeah, okay, let's see. I will put down my first masterpiece that I've done.
Let's see it. I'm curious. I want to see. Holy shit. Oh, you did the Marge thing. Nice.
Yeah. I did at the end because I had nothing else to
Bart.
do.
What's going on with him?
So that's I reference a panel from a Junji Ito comic,
Okay.
manga rather. I just thought it'd be funny, and then Lisa is a chicken, I guess, and then Marge is doing the whole like "Ome wa mushinderu."
Omae wa moshinderu.
Nani? But yeah,
So okay, cool.
that's what I'm happy with it.
So you did, is that like all your characters you did at first?
Yes, and then
Okay.
and then I was like, oh shit, you're not done? I guess I'll draw more.
Yeah, I wasn't done because I was doing this.
Oh my god, that's fascinating. It's weird seeing them not yellow. Well,
Yeah,
I guess.
Homer was actually like a lot darker shade, and I like it wasn't until zoomed out I was like, that's he doesn't look angry. He just looks like African American Homer.
Damn.
Like I think no, his skin was a bit lighter than his beard color, but still, it was just like it needs to be red.
Yeah, whatever. I love the eye shooting out of the eye
I
socket.
meant to put some more like visceral lines around that.
But no, yeah, I love like that cartoony trope of like the eye shooting out. It's one of my favorite things
it's
ever.
the best. Like I like that. I love like stretchy necks like that, and I like the gross like when a heart pounds out of the chest and like it stretches the skin.
Yeah,
around it,
in like the
really
shape of a
gross way,
cartoon
like,
heart.
yeah, like with a piston like pumping.
Yeah.
Like those are some of the best cartoon tropes.
I also like how Bart, the 10-year-old, has a very prominent Adam's apple in like the middle of his neck.
Yeah. Gross Adam's apples are the funniest things.
Oh, for sure. Also, I really appreciate like the very subtle like gross grayness of lack of life in like his neck.
Yeah.
Very nice.
It
Very
made
nice
me wish
touch.
I had done different layers because it kept bleeding into the other stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you got another one? You
Yeah,
got another
yeah.
one for me?
So this is the one I started working on in a haste because apparently you weren't done yet.
I was still working on that one. I drew two more after. Ah, nice.
So
It's a
I drew.
Bloodborne.
Yeah. I drew Marge's sister, again I forget her name, first, and like my instinct was to go with Spider Body, then it reminded me of Patches and Bloodborne, so I was like, fuck it, and then I just drew Skinner with a Bloodborne hat, because why
Very
not?
nice. Very nice. All right. Well, here is my next one because I felt bad if I didn't draw three. So this is my slightly more realistic Mr. Burns, and again, he's got that disgusting Adam's apple that I love so much.
Absolutely. I love the way it droops, as if like the Adam's apple itself is like soggy and like soft.
Yeah. Oh, like it's because his neck is so decayed and stuff, right?
Right, yeah.
One of my favorite Simpsons bits. This is one of those rare ones that like made me actually like crack up and have to like pause it. It was he had gotten arrested and he was in prison, and like one of the security guards is like, "I'm sorry, sir, but we're gonna have to do a cavity search." And Mr. Burns is like, "Oh, I haven't had a cavity in years." And they're like, "Oh, we weren't talking about your teeth." And he goes, "Neither was I."
I love that character.
Just the idea that like his body is like expanded all possible like bumps and ridges and crevices out into like one like leathery doll is a great visual for me.
Yeah, for sure.
Do you have another one?
No, that was all for me. I compiled them a lot into like single images. So
Okay, well here's my opus.
what the why? We finally won. Oh, wow.
Yeah, the machine finally worked.
Oh, wow. What
That's
the
not what Carl sounds like.
I wasn't trying to be Carl.
Yeah, you were.
No, I was just like, yeah, whatever.
Because Lenny's like, ah, and Carl's like,
Well, I wasn't trying to be Carl. I was just responding.
and Barney's like, hi, Homer.
He's got like the crossed out navel that
It's the abscess stomach I was talking about. Or like the fat kind of like rolls inward at the belly button.
Oh, I see. Okay, yeah. To me, it looked like the crossed out belly button that Sam Porter Bridges has in Death Stranding.
That means nothing to me.
Yeah, I know it doesn't. I wanted to say it.
I also like drawing characters with like club feet and Popeye arms.
Yeah, I was thinking about that. Very Popeye-like. Very upsetting. Man, I love how, like, before we started recording, I was like, don't worry, I'll definitely try to, like, not take it as seriously. I'll do some weird stuff. Funny, haha. And I did. I definitely did do some weird stuff. But you just have to, like... You just have to come out with this shit.
Which shit?
That... Ian, we're looking at it right now.
I'm looking at like three things right now. You're gonna have to
The
be a lot
most
more
recent
specific.
one.
Oh, the Lenny and Carl.
Obviously.
Okay.
God, what is...
Do you think Barney's head still functions as a sex organ?
I'm going to ignore that and point out the, I love the feature of... How do I describe it? It's like, at the chest area, the way, like, the body goes out further than the man breasts, I guess is the only way I can describe it. I don't know, just like it feels like very like it gives like a how do I describe it again? It
A
gives
homunculus shape.
yeah, exactly. It has like a flat look to it, not like flat artistically, but like the body itself is like caved in almost in a way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah.
Very nice touch. Very horrifying. I hate it.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All right, Russell, how'd you feel about this episode of Artistically Declined?
I just want to go home.
You do?
Yeah.
You don't want to come play with me longer?
No, I absolutely not. You think
You
I'm
don't want to
willingly
play
here?
Twista with your thithta?
You think I willingly come here?
Well, I like to think that. It makes me feel better, personally.
It's just you
Join us
never
next
listen
time
to
on
me.
Artistically Declined. We'll draw something else. Maybe it'll be fun, maybe it won't. There seems to be kind of like an on-off thing on how good the quality of this thing is. So, you can probably skip the next one, honestly. Yeah, let's go with that. Skip the next one. Skip episode 4. Join us back for episode 5.
Yeah, just do some horrible stuff. I was kind of saving all of my terrible opinions for episode 4.
Okay, this is running long now. Bye.
Bye.
I'm gonna fucking bitch slap you later for that when we're off camera.
All right, fine. Do it.
Cool.
Do it.
All right.
I fucking dare you. You better make it count.
Better kill me in one shot.